This is Elena Sinanli from We Learn to Share. Welcome to the video of AP Environmental Science. In this video, we're going to go over food chain and food webs. Okay, so what does it mean by food chain? So food chains are basically, the thing that you know. So it's basically a movement of energy and nutrients from one trophic level to the next. And it includes the process of photosynthesis into feeding and into decomposition. And within this process, you can see that photosynthesis is basically done by the producers, which are plants, that basically make their own food. And then we have its feeding. So basically feeding by the higher level of a consumer, like basically it could be not a producer, by the consumer. For example, like the fox, the secondary consumer, eating the rabbit, the first level producer. And then when the body is dead, there will be for the dead bodies, there will be decomposition by decomposers like bacteria and fungus that will decompose or basically feed from the nutrients of the dead bodies and return that back to the soil, to the air, or to the land for the reuse of the producers. And you can see that within the basic different levels of the trophic levels of the food chains, most of the energy is degraded to heat and in accordance with the second law of thermodynamics. And this would be an example of this. So you have the solar energy over here, which is renewable resource or natural resource, and then heat goes out. And then there's a first trophic level of producers, plants. They grow by these solar energy. They make food by photosynthesis. And then it can also go to the second trophic level by the primary consumers, the herbivores. Within this process, the heat will be lost. It will go out. And then from the third trophic level, we have the secondary consumers, carnivores. The heat over here, it also goes out, right? It's degraded to heat. And then the first trophic level, we have the tertiary consumers, the top carnivores that feed on another carnivores. Then we have basically heat also gets degraded to heat again. The energy degrades to heat. And then within this heat, there will also the heat will go out over here. These are the decomposer and detritus feeders. The heat will also go out over here again. And this could be also connected by this way or either this way anyway. But the key thing over to here, remember, in this food chain is that basically the movement of energy from this to this to this to the different trophic levels, all of them within the process, the energy is degraded to heat. This is the most important thing that you should remember about the food chains. Next, we're going to learn about food webs. So they're basically a network of interconnected food chains. So with this food chain, if this goes together, then it will be a food web, right? Something like this. So over here, you can see that the shaded middle area over here shows a simple food chain from the phytoplankton, which is a producer, to a krill or herbivorous zooplankton, to like carnivorous zooplankton, to fish, to emperor penguin, to leopard seal, to killer whale, and to humans, right? The simple thing, if all of these things go together, like the krill to petrel to here, or like this way, or like this way, the various food chains, if they all comes together, then it makes a food web. So its participants interact in feeding relationships to form the more complex food web shown over here, and many more participants in the web, including an array of decomposers and detritus feeder organisms, are not shown here. And also, let's learn about biomass. So biomass is a dry weight of all organic matter of a given trophic level in a food chain or a food web. And the biomass decreases at each higher trophic level due to heat loss. And that's because biomass, again, the definition of the biomass itself is the total dry weight of all organic matter of a given trophic level in the food chain or food web. And as you can see, because the heat goes out, it gets degraded, the energy degrades into heat. You can see how the heat will get lost to each at the moving and transition of each trophic level to the higher trophic level, and therefore the total biomass, right, total dry weight will be less and less. It decreases at each higher trophic level because of the heat loss. And energy transfer through food chains and food web is not very efficient. That's why, in other words, it means that heat loss happens because with each transfer, some usable chemical energy is degraded and lost to the environment as low quality heat as a result of secondary law of thermodynamics, and the percentage of usable chemical energy transferred as biomass from one trophic level to the next is called the ecological efficiency, and it ranges from 2% to 40%, which means it's a loss of 60 to 98%, depending on what type of species and ecosystems are involved, but 10% is typical. So if you look at this again, you can see that how much percentage of heat is being lost over here. It's called the ecological efficiency, right? And the pyramid of energy flow over here, it kind of shows the 90% of energy lost with each transfer, and there are less chemical energy for higher tropic levels, again, because the biomass is less and because the transfer of the energy transfer is not very efficient, and it's lost and degraded to the low quality heat. And you can see how at the end of the day, there are only 90% of the heat left. And these are references. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!